Hello and welcome to Doubles and Trebles. We're back for the 5th edition of our golf content, weekly golf content, fresh off the back of the major last weekend, the US PGA Championship, which we're going to do a quick recap on with Pieman. But this week we are concentrating on the Charles Schwab. Is that right, Pieman?
Schwab I'll go with
Challenge.
That. Charles Schwab, yeah.
Charles Schwab Challenge in Texas. But like I say, first, Pieman's just going to do us a quick recap on the US PGA Championship from last weekend.
Yeah, cheers, Adam. I won't worry too much about the Charles Schwab. It's all sponsorship stuff, really. It's Colonial, as most people will know it as. But looking back at the PGA, well, Phil Mickelson, for anyone who didn't know, won this in quite sensational fashion. A 300-1 chance at the spot on the sports books beforehand. Was going off as big as 500 on the machine.
1,000. It was 1,000.
It was matched at 1,000. During the first round. Yeah, bizarre, really. It really was surreal. It was one of these things where even when he hit the front, you felt like he kind of had to fall away. And then just as the weekend progressed, it became like abundantly clear that he had a real chance of holding on. Even going into Sunday, he got in that last pairing with Brooks Koepka, and it just seemed like inevitable that Koepka would eat him up. But, on the first hole, Mickelson arrives on the tee box with a one-shot lead. He bogeys, Koepka birdies, and you think, game over, it's going to be a procession. But no, Koepka had a really tough time. Mickelson was fantastic, the wind proved to be a great leveler once again. It just shows, you can hit it as far as you like, but when the conditions are tough, it takes a bit of class and a bit of experience, and Mickelson's got that in abundance. The oldest ever major winner at the age of 50, and fantastic. I was very pleased to see him win it. In terms of our picks, well, we were on the wrong end of some very unfortunate circumstances. I'm not one for hard luck stories, really. I just do think that's I think it's just part and parcel of the game. But we were pretty unlucky. We put Brandon Grace up at 125-1. He went favourite in running at the halfway stage when going 2 shots clear, and he was there all week, really, only to post the worst round of the day on Sunday and fall out of the places. Joaquin Niemann again entered the final day in 6th, playing fantastically, and again fell out of the places with a disastrous final round. And then Matt Fitzpatrick, one of the ones that I'd sort of given up on, managed to bundle his way into the places before triple bogey in the penultimate hole to miss out again by a shot. So it's just one of those weeks. At one point, I thought we were going to be about plus 45 points. As we are, we're -8. So there we are. That's just the way.
If anyone out there wants a video purely on betting hard luck stories, we could easily do one. Do a video on that. If anyone really is interested, you're probably not, but we could do a decent half an hour on hard luck stories, and the opposite to that. Not necessarily hard luck stories, but just ridiculous bets that have, So there's plenty of content there if anyone's interested.
But it's all good fun, really. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here to put up winners. I'm here to put up unlucky losers. That's what the true punters want, isn't it? So we'll try again this week, I suppose. But yeah, I was pretty encouraged with it, to be honest. All the a little bit. I said to you, it's a little bit like the draw bias in racing. You had all these players come out early in the day when there was no wind, posting 5 under, 6 under. By the time the leading 10 are coming out, the weather had changed dramatically, and they all posted horrendous scores. So anyone that was in the top 10 and looked a shoe-in for a place inevitably fell away. You got the likes of Padraig Harrington, Shane Lowry coming in. They hadn't featured through the whole tournament, but they just benefited from the weather. It's just one of those things. You can't be too downbeat about it. We're on the right lines with it, so we'll go again.
Absolutely. So, like I say, we're on to the Charles Schwab Challenge down at the Colonial in Texas, Pieman. Now, it's not usually this way around, but I'm going to hit you with a fact, Pieman. I think that this is the longest running golfing event on the tour that has stayed consecutively at the same venue. Am I right?
You are. You actually are. Yeah, it's very impressive. Aside from the majors, of course, this is the longest running at any sole location. So Colonial's been hosting this event in some shape or form since the 1940s. So we're actually on the 70-something edition of this. So this has been like an absolute mainstay of the tour. It's one of those courses that even if you don't really follow golf, you've probably heard of the Colonial. So it's just one of those. But yeah, it's I've mentioned it a few times on this channel. Some of these courses on the PGA Tour are just a pitch and putt for these lads, and I don't enjoy it at all when it's minus 21, 22, just free scoring. I like to see a test. I really enjoyed the action at Kiowa last weekend. That was a proper test, and this won't be as harsh a test as a major championship, but it'll be a solid test, depending on how they set the course up and the tees and stuff like that, and where the pin positions are. This could be anywhere between, a single figures winning score and a low teens winning score. But it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a tough test, and I'm looking forward to it.
So, Pieman, as usual, before we get to the betting selections, which is what we're here for, we touch on the course and how it might shape up and what type of player you may need to be successful at Colonial Golf Club in Texas.
Yeah, so well, we've come from Kiowa Island, which was, as mentioned last week, one of the longest courses we've seen on the PGA Tour, playing, over 7,600 yards. This is, by comparison, probably one of the shortest that you're going to find there. Only just making 7,200 yards, so considerably shorter. And this is, I'm putting no emphasis on driving distance at this course. Now, that's not, in layman's terms, you might think, oh, it's a shorter course, so driving distance doesn't matter. It's all about the setup, to be honest. When you're looking at your par fives, you're thinking, are they reachable for the big hitters in 2 shots rather than 3? I.e., are they going to give themselves eagle opportunities? Because that can really separate the field. If you've got 3 or 4 putts for eagle every round, chances are one of them goes in and you're nicking a couple of shots on the field. So these par fives aren't reachable in 2 for anyone. They're all around the 580, 600 yards. Only the first hole on the course is the only one where you might see a few eagles. So eagles are pretty much off the table. And the par fours aren't drivable off the tee. None of the par fours. The par fours are around 400 yard mark, give or take. So you won't see anyone on the greens in 1 or on the par fives in 2, really. So I think it brings the whole field into play in that respect. In terms of what I am looking for, I think, putting. A lot of people will tell you that putting strokes gained putting isn't really a good metric to use. In some cases, I agree, but I must disagree here. I mean, you only have to look at the recent winners of this event. Daniel Berger, Justin Rose, Kevin Na, Jordan Spieth, Kevin Kisner, all people we would regard as having a really good short game. So, it's going to be one of those where, because you can't drive these greens, it's a case of choosing a club off the tee that leaves you the distance that you feel most comfortable with. So some players might leave themselves 150, some players might leave themselves 130, whatever. You've got that opportunity to hit your best iron to get you the best possible chance, and then you need your putter to get hot. You need to be holding these opportunities. So I'm looking for someone who's going to minimize the silly mistakes and get hot with their putter this week.
So you're going to see in the 3 and 4 balls, Pieman, you're going to see some that are quite close, like you say, 40, 50 yards out from the green, and some that are maybe 100, 150 yards out. So it's whatever they feel comfortable with and the most. So it gives them the option off the tee, really, doesn't it?
It does. And if you're, there'll be some players who've got a comfort club that they know they can hit well and stuff. And if you can lay it up to your perfect distance every time, and you've just got that iron in your locker that I can nail this every single time on the money where I want. And generally the wind isn't a massive factor at Colonial either. So if you can get really dialed in with your irons, you're going to tee yourself up loads of chances. But generally my thinking is everyone's going to be teeing up chances for themselves. It's who's going to put them away.
Right, we'll have a quick look at the market then, Pieman. Some players turning up who obviously played in the major last week, and there's some big names at the top of the market. As usual, Jordan Spieth, 10, Justin Thomas, 12, Collin Morikawa is 14, Abraham Answer, one of your mates from previous, is 20, so is Daniel Berger, Tony Finau's 22, along with Patrick Reed, Will Zalatoris is in there as well, and then we're down to 25s for the likes of Corey Connors, Scotty Scheffler, Joaquin Niemann, and Sungjae Im, who I did see on the leaderboard over the weekend, Pieman. Sungjae, another guy I know you've put up before. So are we back to 3 selections this week, Pieman?
We are, yeah, we're back to the 3. Yeah, not only majors, I'm putting the 4 up. Well, I'll stick to that. So, yeah, right, I mean, if you want me to dive in with the first one.
Yeah, go on.
Well, I don't normally go to the top of the market, but I do think that, you've got to be realistic with this event. If players are going to give themselves chances, you need someone that you can trust to put them away. And Collin Morikawa is a player that I have great trust in. When he's putting, he's going well. And there's evidence that he's putting is going well. He did lose the putter for a bit earlier in this year, But let's be honest about Collin Morikawa. He's been an absolute sensation for golf. Really did burst onto the scene last year. Won a major at the first time of asking with a sensational performance. Obviously, we had the enforced break due to COVID, so we didn't see as much of him as we may have done in a normal season. Come back this year, he's been fantastic. 6 of his 11 events that he's played, he's had a top 10 finish. He's already won an event this year in a full strength field. I was very impressed with the way he played there. And then after a bit of a tough time defending his US PGA Championship, he managed to string together a very impressive round yesterday in fairly tough conditions. The conditions were starting to harden up a little bit when Morikawa was out, but he still played very well, snuck himself inside the top 15, maybe even top 10 off the top of my head. So yeah, the form is there. As I say, I'm talking about someone who could just hit these irons exactly where they want them. Collin Morikawa leads this field in strokes gained approach. There is no better player in this field in terms of that approach shot into the green. He's the best out of all 121 players here. So I'm looking at the other people at the top of the market. Jordan Spieth, always going to be a favourite in Texas. He's a Texas boy. He got his first win in over 3 years recently in Texas. It's a comfort course for him, so he's going to be popular. I understand the Spieth logic, but you know, it wouldn't be for me someone who's won once in 3.5 years as a favourite. I'd like to see him doing it a bit more regularly, to be honest. Justin Thomas was in no kind of form, and he's been in no kind of form for 2 or 3 weeks now. Now, he is the kind of player that can suddenly bounce back and win an event, but I would like to see a bit more form out of him. And then you're getting into the likes of players that I really like, but they're just, you know, Abraham Answer's still looking for this first win. Now, don't get me wrong. If you were picking someone who this course was absolutely perfect for, it'd be Abe Answer. And I was very tempted by him, but I just think at the price for someone who's yet to get that win, you know, having that winning mentality when it's a tight finish is key. And Morikawa, if he gets in a heads up with anyone, I fancy him to win. I'm going win only on Collin Morikawa, which I don't do very often, but I really do think he's got a really good chance this week.
So for the doubles and trebles spreadsheet, is that 2 points win, Pieman?
It's a 2 point win.
Right, yeah, 2 points win at. And so best price about Morikawa is 14 to 1 Pieman at the moment. That's a widely available price. So I'll put you down for 2 points win Morikawa. Who's the second selection, Pieman?
Well, you know, you often talk about whether you have loyalty on your racing selections and stuff, and you pride yourself on not being loyal. Well, I can be quite loyal. I try not to be, but you know, if I've been with someone and they've impressed me, I will give them a chance. Now, I was impressed with Brandon Grace last week. He did exactly what I thought he would do. You know, I even suspected he might fall away and collapse, and he did. So, you know, he owes me nothing. I was very pleased with him. And I was pleased with Matt Fitzpatrick. I thought he put up a really solid showing. But the one I'm going to stick with is Joaquin Niemann, the Chilean. I put him up, as I'm saying, last week at the PGA, and I thought he played brilliantly for most of the week. I actually thought he was coming into Sunday as a bit of a dark horse that could have a bit of a run at it, as it was those weather conditions proved to be telling. He double bogeyed very early. That put paid to his chances. Battled on and finished at 20-something, you know, very credible performance in a major championship. This is someone that, you know, he's a very good, solid player in tough conditions. He can do it in a big field. We haven't seen him get that big win yet as such. He did win a couple of years ago, but wasn't really a vintage tournament, shall we say. But I think he's got the game to win. He's someone I'm really keen on for the Open Championship in Sandwich next month. I think he's got a great chance in those conditions. So there's a little anti-poster if anyone's interested from me. But I just thought he's showing great discipline in his approach play. I could see himself getting lots of chances here. And he's one of these where his putter can blow hot and cold. But he was one of the top 5 putters at the PGA Championship last week. So red hot with his putter. Just all looks good for me this week, Niemann. 30 to 1, I think he is.
So, Pieman, you can have 30 to 1, 8 places with one supplier, or you can go for the 10 places, which is a standout this week. No one's offering 9, and there's only one offering 10. You can have 25 to 1, 10, or 30 at 8, Pieman. Where's your money going?
We'll have the 30 at 8.
30 at 8 places.
Yeah, I expect him to contend, actually, Niemann. I think he'll put in a good run again.
So, is there a Pieman bomb this week?
Well, it's certainly not one of the bigger bombs I've dropped on this channel, but this would be, I guess you would say he's double the price pretty much. He's getting, I think he's actually 50 to 1 now. I've been trimmed a little bit, but it's Jason Kokrak for me. He's my third selection. I think he's one of the most underappreciated player on this PGA Tour, I think he's constantly a bit overpriced for what he's actually achieved. This is a man who, he's in his mid-30s. He's certainly not a fashionable player. He's not a new kid on the scene. He's not got any sort of standout part of his game. He's a very solid all-round operator. But just the way he hits these irons, I think he could be perfect for this kind of course. He's one of the best putters on the tour. He's in the top 10 of the entire PGA Tour for putting. He got his breakthrough win at the CJ Cup in 2020, which isn't it's not one of the biggest events on the tour, but it still had a good field, and he won it well. Absolute banker to get into the weekend, and I'm obviously cursing him by saying this now, but he has not missed a cut this year, Jason Kokrak. So it's gonna have to. I'm gonna have to be on my best form to get him missing the cut. To be honest, it's gonna have to be a classic Pieman.
That'll be funny next year.
Yeah. So I mean, just looking a little bit deeper into his form, he got 3 straight top 10s. So placed 3 times in a row, including the Players Championship, which is effectively the 5th major. So that was a full strength field, placed there. I thought he was very solid at the Masters, in the 30s, 40s, but, very respectable performance. Went close again at the Valspar, just outside the places. And I thought he was fantastic again this week. He actually had an 8 on his card on a par 4, so he's 4 over par in 1 hole. That makes his week look a lot worse than what it actually was. If you give him them 4 shots back, i.e. if he hadn't found the trouble he had on that hole, he would have been finishing inside the top 20, and I'd dare to say he'd be quite a bit shorter in this market. But someone who's constantly underappreciated, and Jason Kokrak, I think he'll go well again this week.
So, Pieman, same question. You can have 50 to 1 for 8 or 40 to 1 for 10. I think I know the answer.
I'll have 50 for 8.
50 to 8. So, just to confirm, we're going 2 points win, which is the first ever 2 points win at doubles and trebles, because the rules are 1 point win or 1 point each way on horses normally. So we'll let Pieman rule the roost on the golf. 2 points win, Collin Morikawa at 14, and then we're 1 point each way, Joaquin Niemann, 8 places at 30 to 1, and then Jason Kokrak, as you've just heard, 50 to 1. Is that a point each way, Pieman, or half a point each way?
Point each way.
Also, we're spending 6 points this week, Pieman. Yeah, I like it.
Well, yeah, some could say we're chasing.
Yeah, some could say. There's a fella in here in the market, Pieman, just before we wrap up, at 70 to 1. His name's Phil Mickelson. Why is he such a big price? Has he got a hangover, or is he not interested, or is...
Well, you've got to remember Phil Mickelson was a 300 to 1 chance last week, so he has actually been cut quite a bit. And Phil Mickelson's won this tournament twice, but I mean we're talking over a decade since he won that. Look, there's a lot to like about Phil Mickelson here. I mean, I'm talking about a player that doesn't make mistakes, tight fairways, plays tactical golf. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Phil goes well. I think it's a little bit of a stretch to say he'll win it. I'm sure he's enjoyed himself this weekend after winning. I know he was going back to see his family and stuff. I'm sure they've had a bit of a party on the go. Not sure where his head will be at with this. But one thing about Phil Mickelson, he loves playing golf. Even on his weeks off, he'll go meet up with his mates from home and he'll play 36 holes with them just to play golf. So, I mean, he'll enjoy himself, Phil. Who knows?
Yeah, well, that wraps up this week's preview of the Charles Schwab Challenge down in Texas. There's 3 selections there from Pieman. Confident on Morikawa because he's gone win only. So let us know in the comments who you're backing this week, or if you had the winner of the USPGA last week. And we'll be back soon with some more golf and other sports content. Thank you.
Thank you.